onto our rocks. Well, these rocks may look a little bit harder than they are to do, but when you look at this, and I drew kind of a detailed shot of what we're aiming towards with all of these. When you look at this, if you can look at these as like funky boxes. So you've got your top, and your lines on the top of this box are going to go, in general, they're going to go just diagonal, right? Because your sides, they're a little wonky, but there's some diagonalness to what you see right there. So they're going to be at diagonal angles right there. Now your sides, it's just going to depend on the curve, like the direction of what you're going to see with your side lines right there. So when you think about a box, a typical box, you know, you're going to have these lines that go this way, and then in general you're going to have lines that when you see them, like this is a side, and so you're going to have lines that go this way, or they could go this way, right? Because you have a top that goes this way, and then you've got that, and they kind of connect like a V, and then this line goes this way, and so therefore you'd have other lines that go in that same direction. So thinking among those lines, rocks are not perfect like a box, but in general you're going to have a top on a rock, and well, you're going to have sides on a rock. So we're going to take our lines and we're going to do hatching with that. We're also doing cross contours, so we're going within the contours, the shapes of what you see on the actual form that we're doing, and we're taking that, you know, trying to imagine the directions of what we see as we go. So when you look at this rock, it's heavier down here. The value is heavier down here. As you go towards the light, if you can assume with all of this, the light is hitting the top, if you can think of it that way. And then as you go down towards the depths of this side of this rock, the light will turn into shadow. It would be darker down here, and then it would get lighter and lighter as you go towards the top. So that's what we're aiming for on all of these rocks as you go, as you're adding the depth here to your rocks. So anyway, I'm going to observe what I see right here, and I'll do a little sample and let you see what's doing with this. So I kind of started you guys out on directional lines. So I have some of my lines that I'm just pulling. I'm going to make some of the lines around some of the edges. I may thicken up some of the edges, but I'm going to leave it relatively light. I can also take my eraser through the center of it and kind of lighten it a little bit, making it a little bit of a broken line. You have an area right here, this little edge, this overlaps this side, right? And so what you would do, because you have an overlap there, you would have a little bit of a shadow where there's an overlay. So I'm taking my lines, and with this one, you can kind of see these directional lines that I already drew are just going down this way. Some of the lines may jut out like this, but these in general are just going up and down. So I'll just kind of draw just a little bit of a cast shadow. I'm still keeping it kind of light as I go here. You've got another little section. You have another little jut here where these lines go in this direction. So where you have this section that meets this section, and I'm just doing, these are vertical lines and these are diagonal lines. So where it meets it here, I'm making my lines vertical. Where it goes down, making this part diagonal right here, and it's gradually getting just a little bit darker right here. As you go down, you can see my lines here are just up and down. It's getting darker and darker as you go towards the bottom. You can always too take your eraser and pull some lights if you want to right here. I'll show you just a little bit here. So I'll do another one. You have like directional lines here. This is really just going this way. So kind of follow what I have. It'll make your life a little bit easier as you go. So this is relatively light still, and I'm gonna pull my eraser in just to pull out some highlights in the middle. It may be darker around here in this little edge part. But as we go down towards this bottom section, I'm gonna make that noticeably darker. Some of this may kind of bleed a little bit onto that. And you might have a little something right here. We'll do one more little section. So where you have a section connecting to another section, you might have a little bit of a dark. And this will definitely be darker as you go towards that bottom. And you can also take this line, just make your top lines maybe around the edges. They can be a little bit darker in some little spots right there. So hopefully that kind of helps you out, helps you to see what to do.